I'd like to call the meeting of the Wage and Personnel Committee, Monday, February 12th at 6 p.m. to order. In attendance, we have Tina Betty, the Human Resources Manager, Jennifer Scavone, the Executive Secretary, Lorraine, and myself, Jim. I think we're going to have Darlene Reagan in at Zoom at some point during the meeting, but we have two people, so let's start the meeting and let's get it done. Okay. Anybody, the meeting's being recorded by Zoom. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. Not seeing any. Items may be taken out of order at the discretion of the chair, and that may happen, especially when we get to the minutes about when you two guys visited the sewer treatment plant.
Yes.
I wasn't there, so I'll recuse myself
Yep.
until she comes in to approve those minutes.
Yeah.
All right. So the first on the agenda is the update from Tina Betty.
Okay. So on the recruitment front, I spoke with Donald today, and we're going to take down the librarian sub posting. He's good there. Likely we'll take down the circulation sub posting probably within the next couple of weeks.
What did,
Go ahead.
you're taking them away?
So the librarian one, I just took,
Yeah, the library sub
And then the circulation sub is still up, but probably will get taken down in a month or so.
Okay,
There's been a call firefighter posting. I know that they did one hire. I think they're looking for a couple of more.
mhm.
I did the posting for the clerical pool, which is, I think, the admin assistant or admin clerk that we have in the bylaw. And I started interviews. I have one more interview on Friday. So I'm hoping to get a couple of captures from there to be able to help departments as needed. I posted the public health nurse. The person in the position resigned. And so we posted for that. And I'm working with the health agent on that. Our IT manager, it's not official, but she is going to retire. And so that position will go up at some point, I believe. And so that job description is being reviewed right now.
Yeah,
And then I just, again, wanted to remind you guys, because people are starting to ask, so the COLA that all the unions negotiated for FY25 is 3.5%.
mhm.
And so, whatever you guys plan on doing, people have just been asking about that as it relates to the budget, but also for themselves.
Okay.
I'm assuming that the recommendation from the town is to go to the 3.5%.
Yeah, I mean, again, you guys, and in general, we want everyone to be treated the
Yep,
same,
sure.
so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
What else is-
Does, maybe we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting, to take up. But the reason being is that if we put it on the agenda for the next meeting, before they go to close out finance committee at the end of March, they'll at least be able to update budgets and they'll
Yeah.
actually have real numbers. So I think that's a good thing for us to do.
I've seen emails with recommendations was kind of a strong word, but I saw emails with Keith and the 3.5 and you, so it's been discussed, so it's not a big sign.
Yeah, and I think, and obviously Carol would be the one to.
Yeah.
Actually, did I write that on
But you
there? I
still
didn't write
still
that on there.
have to do it.
Update you on that as well, but.
Yeah.
So Carol's the one who kind of puts it all together, obviously, and so my understanding of how it works is all the departments do their budget as if there was no COLA other than the unions, because we're
Mhm.
contracted to that.
Mhm.
Do their budget, saying, here's what is the next step that these people would get. And then there's the separate article for wage and personnel,
Yeah.
which would then run the numbers for that 3.5% on the wage and personnel. So that's kind of where
Okay.
people are at.
What, have you heard numbers in terms of what the budget increases they're looking for next year?
Yeah, I think
Overall
about
budget.
it. I think originally, I don't even think it came from finance committee, but I think originally the charge was, level services 3%. But between COLA and the expected increase in, insurance, that would already be over 3%. So they're working on the numbers on that part.
Okay.
And then I didn't mention that,
Finance director.
yeah, so the finance director, as you recall, our finance director relocated, but has been working for us remotely, originally until we hired someone, but given the time of year and beneficial to the employee as well as to us, is they're gonna stay on until at least June 30th. So they'll pick up recruitment again, probably in May. Right now, there's a lot of openings for finance people and, you know, instead of bringing someone in and maybe overpaying or bringing someone in and they have to kind of jump into the payroll or to the budget process and, you know, the incumbent is great and has, you know, hasn't missed a beat being remote, so.
Excellent.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Let's jump into the agenda then. The first item is the email dated November 6th from Tina regarding changes to the bylaw, section 7D, 7G, 11F, 15A for FY25. I reviewed that email, and I don't have any issue with the suggestions. I don't know, Lorraine, if you looked at it,
We were okay with 7D.
right?
I thought, I didn't realize that you were done with 7D.
Well, I
we
think
didn't
what
vote.
we didn't do anything. We were waiting to do the whole thing at once.
But remember, you were going to delete the last sentence and then you never decided what to do with the minimum.
All we did in this, according to what I have, is we eliminated, we changed it to, it was gonna read position providing a 5% increase, not a minimum, a 5% increase. And then the second part of it was the next sentence about if a 5% increase causes yada, 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 we eliminated that.
But that
But we
was,
didn't vote anything.
right, but that isn't, that last sentence isn't even in the bylaw. That was a different version.
Right, we discussed it. We didn't make a vote, we didn't change anything. So basically, the recommendations in red, we did not accept.
Right, I thought you were still thinking about whether to delete a minimum.
We are thinking about deleting a minimum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, when I said I didn't have any problem with anything, I didn't have any, with the way the email is sitting, so we have our discussion.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All
so,
right.
all right, so as far as 7D goes, that sentence one more time, please.
The last sentence or the one, all right, let's.
Yeah, let's look at
An
promotion.
employee receiving a promotion to a vacant position or to a new position is defined in section 6 shall, upon assignment resulting from such promotion, receive the rate in the compensation grade of the vacant or new position, providing a 5% increase. There was no, don't insert the minimum. And then the second part of the change was deleting the sentence that begins, if a 5% increase causes a jump in salary of more than 2 steps, the promotion shall come before the board for approval. So that's not, we're not making any of the red.
So all we're doing is, we're basically granting a 5% increase.
Yeah, and
So the only change in the bylaw would be deleting.
The word a minimum.
a minimum, yeah.
So then, if you get promoted, or reclasses, the bylaw talks about reclass being considered a promotion, you're only getting a 5% increase.
Right,
And then wherever that stuff lands.
because then there was something going on, if I'm not mistaken, we were talking about if you're getting a promotion
Mhm.
and you're going up a step, then we were talking about, you're not gonna get all of it.
What do you mean?
You're not gonna get 5% in the step on top of.
Right, so the way it reads now is the minimum of 5%. And what had been happening was when a promotion was happening, and it typically was from union position to department head, we applied the 5% and it would be over step 3. And so we've come here. But based on this, it's saying you have to at least give them the 5%. So the question was, if they're at least giving them the 5%, do they even have to come here?
Yep,
So if you're now saying they're gonna just get 5% straight up, there's no negotiating, or, you know, advocating for a higher step,
Mhm.
higher number, then that's just how it is, 5% across the board.
Yeah.
And if that's what you want, that's what you want. And then the G part of it is somewhat different.
So there's nothing in the bylaw currently about coming to the board.
The practice has been anything, whether it's a new hire or a promotion. If it's above step 3,
Yeah.
they come to the board.
Okay. But I mean, there's nothing in the bylaw.
No. I don't think
No,
so.
and
right?
No, there isn't.
Never
I'm
had- yeah.
looking at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think when Susan Woodworth got promoted, it didn't
That's-
come before, but that was a while ago.
Yeah.
For a promotion, I don't remember
Yeah,
coming
so,
before the
so like,
board.
so promotion wise, again, for the most part, it's been, a union employee going to a department head. The couple of cases I'm thinking of, mainly because they work
So
labor.
that's really kind of a new hire because they're going from KTEU to
Right,
wage and person.
right. Right. And so the other example of that, which isn't, I guess isn't a promotion because of the whole grant piece of it, was the assistant director to the COA. So that was a employee being hired into that position,
Mhm.
not really a promotion.
No,
But the request was more than step 3. That's why I came here. So that would have been G, so entrance rate for a new appointment.
Yeah, because I have a notation here for add for new hires only. So the practice has been if over step 3, the board is called in, and then add for new hires only. So we were discussing that.
So, well, it's been new hires and, right, and promotions.
Okay.
Right, the reclass
Can you
is
also
the
note an
situation we have
exception?
now,
Yeah,
which again, in the bylaw, reclasses are considered promotions. Or treated like promotions.
okay.
So they get a minimum of 5%, or they get a 5% increase, period.
Well, right now it's the minimum.
Right now, it's a minimum.
Yeah.
But we get a 5% increase, period. They wouldn't have to come to us.
If they get the minimum of it, yep.
Well, they get 5.
Wait, so you're saying if you take out minimum
Yes,
and it's just 5% across the board, yep,
And they wouldn't come to us.
well, there'd be no mechanism to, because you're not.
Right.
You're saying you only get 5%.
Mhm. What do you see as the problem?
I think for when people are going into the department head level, a 5% increase in some cases won't equate to much, just because most of those people have been here for a long time to begin with. Or they're going from a union overtime eligible position.
Right.
That has been what's happened.
Right.
You know, when I think of some most recent examples, you know, we followed the minimum of 5%. So if it stays a minimum, but you want people to still come if it's gonna be more than the 5%, I think that's makes sense. If you think it's really, we just wanna make sure people are getting 5%, as long as they're doing that.
So-
go ahead.
So what I'm hearing is, and this is how I'm hearing you, is that you're okay with a 5% increase. However, in the case of any increases over 5%, they would be subject to board input.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening now. And
Right.
so again, so my thought is either keep it at the minimum of 5%. And if someone gets more than 5%, you guys aren't involved because people are doing at least the 5%. Or have the words match the practice of a minimum of 5% up until whatever. You
A
know,
minimum of 5% and any amount over the 5% would require board input. Doesn't mean you gotta do anything,
right.
we just input it.
So in that case,
It's
is it
not
really a
approval.
minimum anymore though? Because
Right.
if you're saying anything above 5%, you have to bring it to us, then
Right.
at a minimum, you're giving someone 5%.
Right.
And so really, you're giving them 5%. It's when you want to give them more that the board
Right.
would get involved, or not,
Mhm.
right? I mean, if the idea being, let's make sure. people are at
What
least
I'm
getting
trying
5%.
to think about is a couple of things.
Mhm.
One is if it's over 5% and they have to come to the board, there's cover. Okay, there's a board looking at.
Yeah.
You can't say the administration is doing what they want,
Mm.
you know? Now, I think there's good and bad for that. Okay, personally, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Because typically, the board doesn't, I mean, the administration doesn't usually come to us with, ideas or proposals that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Right.
but and so the reason why I wanted to leave it in there that they could come to us is because I don't want to handcuff them in the situation that they're about to face with a finance director, which is they're probably gonna have to go out and
Yeah.
and pay. So at least they have the flexibility to go ahead and do it. And they also have the ability of, some input from,
So not to complicate things, but just to kind of make sure we're
course we
talking
will.
about the two different avenues. So D is the promotion, G is the entrance rate.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so if we're just talking promotion, that's where the minimum 5% comes in.
Mhm.
Now,
Now,
obviously, the 5% is because they're being promoted because they're already an employee here, right? So that's their base, and then we add the 5%. To put it in perspective, PTEU, when you promote or change a grade and go up higher, you take your step with you. So if I'm a step 10 in grade 1 and I get promoted to grade 5, I'm now a step 10.
Right.
So I'm not saying that's the right way to do it. But those are significant jumps. for
that,
people.
no, they are.
They
And-
are.
But that's why I'm, kind of leaning towards the idea of, you know, the 5% increase. And some mechanism that allows administration in their judgment
Mhm.
to pay more than 5% with input from the board.
then we have to leave the minimum in, the word minimum in.
No, I think it's the opposite.
Yes, yes.
Right, because right now minimum's in there. So what that is saying is, Tina, as long as that promotion, that person gets 5%, you don't have to worry about the board. It's if I wanted to give them 2%, I'd have to come here.
Right.
Yeah,
Or it doesn't even really say that either, but I'd have to give them the 5%. So for a promotion, if you guys take the minimum wording out, people know going into promotion, they're getting 5%. And then you have something in there that talks about, and if you want to promote someone at more than 5%, then you can.
But in the event of the promotion results in a change of compensation
Mhm.
of more than 5%, then board input should be sought. And something along that line.
So my next question then is 5% the right percent?
And again,
Yeah.
that's different argument.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think 5% is right.
Mhm.
Okay. I personally think the town should have the ability to go up to 6.5%, 7%, and then come to us.
yeah, the question I have, and I keep bouncing back in my head, and I probably got the answer, but when we're talking about providing 5% increase, is that 5% based on the new promotion number?
No, right, so let's use the example of reclassification equals promotion, okay, so
Yeah.
they're all the same world.
Yeah.
So I think right now HR is a grade 11. I
Mhm.
think I'm step 6 or whatever, so let's say that's $10 an hour. Or $10 salary. So what you would do is say, okay, now HR manager is gonna be grade 13. You
Okay,
take Tina's current $10 an hour, add 5% to it, apply it to grade 13, and wherever step that
falls in
lands
there.
on is what the new rate is.
Right.
so you're really not, that's where I was getting caught on it. How does it happen that you could go well beyond
Mm.
what the town had intended to do, but now it makes sense.
So now the other thing to keep in mind, and this is practice, right? Because nothing becomes official until July 1 with anything, right? So what we have done is said, okay, so Tina's making $10 an hour today, but she's expecting to make $12 an hour come July 1 if nothing were to change. So now I'm gonna use the $12 an hour.
Mhm.
Without the COLA, because you never know, waiting for
Right.
that's gonna do COLA, so $12 an hour plus 5% in the new grade. And then that new grade made that COLA.
All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I just kind of got taught it a little bit. All right, thank you very, very much.
I mean, I think you could do something like a minimum of 5% increase, not to exceed whatever number. Without input from the board.
So a minimum of, leave the word minimum. in.
Yeah.
New position providing minimum of 5% increase. Or 5 to 7% increase,
Yeah, I guess that's the same thing.
5 to 7% increase,
Yeah.
providing, take the word minimum out,
Mhm.
providing a 5 to 7%
Mhm,
increase.
mhm, mhm.
And then, and I'm trying to not use
Yeah.
negative language. I'm trying to come up with something that's a little more positive. But basically what I'm saying is anything over 7%, you gotta get board input.
Well, who makes the distinction as to who's the 5, 6, or 7%?
That's the town administrator, the hiring board,
The hiring,
whether it's whether the,
gotcha,
whoever's deciding the promotion.
the supervisor.
Right,
or
it
what
could be the board of selectmen.
So it's not our decision.
No.
The 5 to
We
7,
gave them a 5 to 7 range,
there's your range. Okay,
okay?
that makes
But
sense.
over 7, they come to us.
Yeah.
And the reason that they want to, that I would like them to come to us is not a power trip.
Right.
It's to see where it falls amongst all the other wages and are we in line? And if because that was my problem with wastewater. Was, they wanted to go to step 7 and we were at step 5 or step 3. And I wouldn't move. And the reason I wouldn't move is because I couldn't see what that was going to be as it related to everything else.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons why I just said no.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
like the 5 to 7 because it gives them some flexibility with qualifications.
Mhm.
They get a little bit of,
Again,
little
but this is promotion, right?
Yeah,
But mean,
I
you
know.
Still need the
But even
qualifications. to
promotions,
promote,
yeah,
right,
you don't promote somebody who
Agreed.
shouldn't be in their job.
Yep.
End of story. Okay,
5 to
5 to
7%,
7.
5 to 7% increase. Any increase that is over 7%, board input is required.
Okay, what was that sentence again? Any?
So basically, this last sentence, receive the rate and the compensation grade of a vacant or new position, providing a 5 to 7% increase. Any increase over 7% shall require board input,
Shall requires. Okay, thank you.
or may, we can.
Well,
argue.
There's a big difference.
No, I
between
know,
may
but
and shall.
the point I'm trying to make
Yeah.
is, that's our proposed language, and now let's give it to the attorney.
Yeah.
And let them come back, because I don't know how that falls in the rest of Mass
Yep.
General Law.
Mhm.
That's where the reason why I'm saying that.
Yep, nope, understood.
Well, would you want to use something like what's in G? Where it may
Well, they have
be
a shall and an
authorized
accept.
by the board and town administrator pursuant to section 5 of this bylaw. We need something like that.
Person appointed to the position of classification should be paid at a minimum rate, except as may be authorized by the board and town, by the board and town
Yeah.
pursuant to, yeah, that's fine.
That could do very well,
Yeah,
actually.
You can borrow that and fit it into what we just discussed.
And it would be similar, if not the same.
So what it would say would be something to the effect of, increases over 7%. May be authorized by the board and the town administrator pursuant to section 5 of this bylaw. And I gotta look at section 5.
It's recruitment, selection, and some, maybe appointment.
Okay.
But you should look at.
I just said, just said the,
Okay. And it's, section 5.
All right, so increases, so not any increases over 7%, increases over 7%.
increases as a result of promotion.
Well, we're talking about the promotion.
Yeah, I don't
Correct.
think we need to
Paragraph.
put that in. Okay, so.
Yeah.
A minimum is gone.
right,
Then the
Right.
next sentence, first you had any increase over 7%, now we have increases over 7%.
right.
What exactly do you want?
Well, I think, didn't you say, compensation grade of the vacant or new position providing a 5 to 7% increase? And
Mhm.
then, whatever you said about beyond that,
Yeah, any increase over 7% shall,
I think it could be, shall be renewed, reviewed. I don't even think it has to be you don't vote on it,
Right,
you know,
Right.
or presented, you know, something like that.
how about, any increase over 7% shall be authorized by the board and town administrator pursuant to section 5 of this bylaw.
All right,
yay,
Who,
there you go. So now move
You
this.
got it?
mhm. The recording has it.
Okay,
Thank
and that's
God.
what
Right.
matters.
okay,
But I'm just taking that sentence from G.
Yep,
yep, and,
be authorized by the board and town administrator
Right.
pursuant, yeah,
okay,
Mhm.
okay,
that gives you some flexibility, but also some cover and oversight
Mhm.
from the standpoint of, you know, the amounts. There's always gonna be a reason, a good reason,
Right,
and I can see it happen.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
think it's coming quick.
Yep. Yep.
So,
I agree.
so that's what, I'm just trying to give you the tools. Cause I just, what I just don't like you having, try to do your job and not being able to.
Well, and
Right.
so here's the thing, it's like, so what I was gonna say was, you know, between, and I don't mean the people in the chairs, but between HR and the town administrator. The equity thing does get looked at, there's just no mechanism to change it for anybody
Right.
else, you know, and
Right.
that's so difficult. Because you could, again, if someone with 20 years of experience walked in and said, you know, here I am, your finance director, and this is what I want, you know, I could understand employees being like, well, I've been here 20 years, or I've been in this position for 20 years and I'm not that high yet. And again, in the real world, a good company will give you a way to take care of that, you know, and we just don't have it here. So I do think that, now it is about the people in the chairs. I do think that Keith and I take all that into consideration, which is what our job should be doing. But then I think we also are kind of like, we don't want the incumbents or the current employees to feel like that, you know?
Oh, no,
So,
it,
yeah.
it doesn't breed the attitude you want.
No.
It causes discourse and problems. I agree 100%. We've all been there.
Yeah, I know.
We've all been there in our, I mean, the one
various
thing,
incarnations.
well, the one thing that this is not gray hair. It's
Yeah.
experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is not something
Yeah.
that we've not dealt with before, you know?
And then, you know, now I'm just going off because I do love my profession. I wouldn't have been as long as I have. But like, then there's the whole thing about, you know, who gets, what type of being gets encouraged or expected to advocate for themselves and who hasn't been encouraged to do that. And so,
Yeah.
you know, if you have someone who's like, listen, I'm not coming to you unless I get a 15% increase.
Yeah.
The just as qualified person next to them, who maybe was never empowered to do that, shouldn't have to not get the money because of that, you know? So,
My biggest, not concern, but there's something that we cannot change in the fact that municipalities are service oriented, whereas the others are profit driven.
well,
So
yes and no.
there's
I
that-
mean, I've been in academia and I've been in not-for-profit, and
Yeah.
they do have mechanisms for it, but.
they do, but
But it's not, see, this is what I think is,
Yeah.
you know, the budget is set on July 1.
Yeah.
And
that's that.
that's it. You
And that's
know?
where you have
Right.
very little to do and very little flexibility to gift people
Right.
with, you know, like merit. When they start talking about merit, I get very nervous.
Well, it's funny because when I was with a non-for-profit, they were all on grants, and you know, the
Oh, yeah.
department head would have to get their own grants to supply for their department. And so it'd be such a hard thing because they'd be like, I want to pay this person $1 million. Well, that's fine, but now you have to ask for $1 million plus 9.5% or whatever just to get the, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because of all the overhead. Actually, it was more. So it's very like, you want to pay people more, but because of the mechanism of how people get, how the place runs, That means you have to ask for more money from the grant, which might mean you don't get the grant. So.
Well, and I can tell you from my experience when I was on the finance committee, I had a gentleman, and unfortunately he's no longer with us, but did a great job with the town, saved the town a ton of money.
Mhm.
So I'm reviewing his budget for the next year, and of course, the money he saved is a target. We're gonna pull that back. And I said, look, I can't write you a check. I'd love to. I can't turn around and, but what I can do is before I touch this, is there something you need in your department that we're not looking at that would make your job easier? And right, wrong, or indifferent, that was the only real
Yeah.
mechanism I had.
Yeah,
And then I said, because I'll go fight for it when I sit with the other people and they want to take the savings. Let her in, yeah.
oh,
I can't even see.
Just give us a second, Darlene. We're gonna let you in a
we're
minute.
coming.
No, up top, there,
Oh,
right there.
no, do
Ask to unmute.
Ask on you. And who's that?
well, they both are. I just don't know which one is the real her.
Wait, she's connecting to audio.
Okay. Darlene, let us know when you're talking. Unmute yourself.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you there?
No, she's unmuted because if I click that, she'll be muted.
So she's
Hey, look at
unmuted.
those three little dots.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, there you are. All right, so you can hear us?
Yes.
All right, and you have your video off.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Wait a minute. There we go. Hi.
All right, you're there.
Hi.
Okay. So at 6:33, Darlene Reagan has joined our meeting as a third member for Wage and Personnel. Okay. So Darlene, just real quick, it's gonna be a long night. We just discussed the first item in section 7 compensation, first item on the agenda, which was regarding promotion. And what we've decided is, and it's subject obviously to the perusal of the attorney to make sure we have our language correct. But basically what we're doing is, sounds like you're trying to do 2 meetings.
Yeah, I'm trying to lower it so that
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's all right. So what we've discussed is that, what I'm talking about is the email from Tina on November the 6th.
Okay.
And it's the first item, which is 7D compensation promotion.
Okay.
It might be. Oh, no, that's just in a different town.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I have my stuff open here. November, I probably should get them.
She froze.
Easier to find on the phone. November, right? Sorry. November 20th, you said?
6th, November
Oh.
6th.
But I may have sent it to you a day later, Darlene, because Tina usually sends things to Jim and I, and then I would have forwarded it to you.
Yeah.
Tell her November 6th at 4:27 PM.
Okay, I have.
Because
I'll just pull it up on my phone. It's easier. Sorry there.
Not supposed to walk into your car door what you need.
Or any part of your body,
Hmm?
or any part of your body.
November, okay, hold on. Slade.
Okay, and that was the.
Mhm.
All right, so it's just the D and G that we have to resolve. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay.
How much we spending annually on that, Steve, on street sweeping?
Okay, I'm trying to get the whole entire message here.
I have that in front of me.
November.
22.
Okay. Maybe I got it here. Let me see. I'm just trying to.
32, 220, 250,000 per unit.
So that I printed everything off here too. So, but for some reason I don't have. I put everything in order. Sorry about that. September.
It's the first item on the discussion action list on the agenda.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Exact first item.
okay. Yep. Yep. November 16 to Betty. Okay, I see that right there. Tina Betty.
Ordered my food for tomorrow.
I just, for some reason, I'm sitting there thinking,
All right, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I can't find. I'm.
That's all right, we're gonna move on. You're just gonna have to catch up with us. All right, we're gonna go to the next item.
So maybe
Go
for the
ahead.
next.
I'll find it. Go ahead.
That's what we want is draft of all of this.
There you go.
All right,
Yeah.
but this way she'll see the draft and then if she has questions, she can bring it up then.
And
But let's go to the next item,
today's-
okay, which is the email, which is section 7G on that same email. And this is regarding the entrance rate and new appointment persons appointed to the position in the classification plan shall be paid at the minimum rate except as may be authorized by the board and town administrator pursuant to section 5 of this bylaw. And basically what in red is saying the practice has been over step 3, the board is called in. Can you also note an exception to internal appointments or promotion based on 7D, which we have just taken care of?
Mhm.
So,
So,
so on this one, do we really need to do anything?
So right now,
Mhm.
this doesn't say anyone has to come to the board.
Okay,
So if you want to stop that practice, fine, but if not, then you should.
so for new appointments,
For
okay,
new
and again,
yep.
let's talk about real world,
Mhm.
okay? Is, and chime in, but is step 3 too low?
It's so hard because like, I think for department head, it might be too low, but for other positions, it might not be.
Mhm.
And so some of the other positions are like the straightforward librarians, the
Right.
assistant director of COA.
Mm.
There's a couple of others here and there.
Should we split the grades?
I think well, maybe not the grades, but I think you could say like, with the exception of department heads or something like that, you know? Or you just keep it as is and just add the practice.
I'm inclined to keep it simple, which is keep it the way it is and add the practice.
Yeah.
Because the worst that happens is that if it's something that is of non-department head material, we're gonna know in 10 seconds,
Yeah,
okay? Once it's presented. So, okay, it's an agenda item. It will be something we have to take up at a meeting for 5 minutes. We move on. But the beauty about it is we'll at least be consistent.
and we're aware of the numbers that are changing.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, and I don't think it's happened, but again, you know, recruitment is recruitment. And so sometimes you're up against the clock. So, what we've done is if you guys can't meet in a timely manner, we have said, we make them the conditional offer with one of the conditions being you guys.
Subject to the meeting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you want to put that in there or just leave it as is. And we know that that's what we do. It's a timing.
Well, you have the mechanism already in place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't complicate it by
Saying it has to
codifying
go
it,
in.
right?
Yeah, okay.
What I would do is just codify the practice.
Yep.
So, something with the minimum rate as may be authorized by the board and the town administrator pursuant to section 5 of this bylaw. Any,
How about,
go ahead.
how about persons appointed to positions in the classification plan shall be paid no higher than step 3, except as may be authorized, if that's what the step you want.
Except that this may be authorized by the board and the town, yes.
In the.
Right, the rest
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, it's really good.
That's good, yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
okay.
what did I say? Shall
You
be
said-
paid,
It's on the recording.
shall be paid no higher than, I think, no higher than step 3, right?
Right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Excellent, excellent.
Good
Well,
choice.
I had time to think about it while you were.
That's all right.
It's all right.
That's all right.
So then 11, you guys said we're good.
Yep.
That just follows the. law,
And-
kind of.
yep.
And then 15, you said was good.
Yeah.
All right.
So all 4 of them are good now.
Well, and what we're going to
And
get
the draft.
is some
The draft.
drafts,
Yeah.
Right.
and then we'll do a final approval.
No, we can.
Okay?
Wonderful.
Okay.
All right.
All right, the rest of it.
Oh my goodness, it's Sue. Okay. I have it.
Okay, so now let's move over to the next item, which is the email dated November 20th from Tina with
Good Tina, man.
with FY 25 bylaw amendment request from Sue Woodworth,
Yes.
Parks and Recreations.
So I spoke to Sue about this, truth be told, I just spoke to her about it, but in my defense, I was on vacation for a week. So,
Okay, you're on vacation.
okay, so, the counselor position has 3 positions, and it's almost like a step, I mean, not a step, a ladder. So what she's saying is that counselor position is entry level, never done this before. They should only be making minimum wage. Now, what ended up happening is last year, you guys applied the 3.5%, which got it to like 1553 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
That's
Yeah, and so
1553.
I explained that to Sue and I said, are you good if we just keep it at 1553? And she said, yes, but it shouldn't include a COLA because it should be the minimum wage because it's like you're walking in the door to do a job for the first time.
So this is on schedule C3,
Yeah,
counseling instructor.
yes. It's
It's
the
This one
second
here?
one down.
No, I
Yeah,
know.
the second,
Yeah.
she's looking at it, I'm looking at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
my bylaw-
counselor instructor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I know that just from history.
yep.
That kind of,
So we have it as both minimum and maximum, the same
Right.
number.
yeah.
Because
it's
they,
always
they
been that way.
won't, right, it's the
Yeah.
entry level.
Right.
So that's all that she was saying in this. So she's saying, you know, give the cost of living, whatever you guys decide, to all of the positions except for the counselor instructor. That needs to be at minimum wage, but for these purposes, 1553.
Yeah, I'm not entirely comfortable with that because it kind of. I wish I could find the words. We went through this whole exercise with minimum wage.
Right.
Now she's suggesting that we freeze it.
But
Well,
minimum
it's
wage,
frozen
it is
anyways.
frozen.
Right, but this will never move.
Right,
Will never. move
until the
forward.
next minimum wage.
And
Right.
how many years did it
Yeah,
take to
right,
get
but
us
her point
to get
is,
minimum wage?
so look at it this
I
way.
understand her point.
It's a 16-year-old who's never dealt
Yes.
with kids before.
Yes.
You're gonna pay them, start at some point, pay them $70 an hour just because they got the COLA over and over and over. and
So
over.
my question is that the only position in this town that does not get touched by COLA?
I mean,
Because to me, that's discriminatory. In a sense, I mean,
I don't see it that way because
Yeah.
if they come back the next year, they automatically move up to this next level. So they're not making minimum wage year over year. It's their.
so it's only
entry.
1 year they're gonna level at that?
Yeah, because they've never done anything like this before. And so she's got to assess
Uh-huh.
and be like, okay. if you wanna
No,
come
I
back
know
next
she
year,
controls her
yep.
own money and I. and I'm
Well, no, I
okay
just
with that.
mean
I
in
just don't
general.
wanna see anybody come back in and never, ever move
All
forward.
right, so let me tell you this then. There's a grade,
She's wagging
there's
that
a,
thing.
there's a chart in here.
Some
where-
Mahomes,
they
some
must-
Mahomes.
Mahomes, it's a Mahomes.
Yeah,
Tina,
they move, they
Tina,
move right
the
over.
Mahomes.
It's a Mahomes. I gotta figure it out. I
Yeah.
gotta figure it out.
I don't do the Mahomes, I do
I
the-
love it.
Um,
I like Purdy, thank you.
So
Pretty Purdy.
there's a grid in here somewhere and I don't remember which one it is, but there's a part of the bylaw says basically if you're not a regular position, you don't get a step.
Right,
Okay, so we have employees that have been in non-regular positions forever, or on step 1 and have been for 5 years.
Mhm.
And so they're just getting the COLA over and over, where in reality, maybe they should be stepping through the steps. So I kind of see it as the same thing. Okay, so that situation worse. I see this as I'm brand spanking new. I want to, almost like
Okay.
a junior counselor or a counselor in training. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
So I feel fine saying it's a minimum wage job, and next year if you come back because you're a superstar, we will welcome you at the next rung of the ladder, and that's not minimum wage.
Okay, all right, because my only concern was just having somebody at the same level, whereas everybody else in the group, in the schedule moves, except for one.
Well, so look at it as it's a 1-year appointment.
Well, yeah, now that you put it
Yeah.
in that term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
in
makes
other
sense.
words, what would you say if it said instead of counselor instructor, first year counselor
Right.
instructor?
Right.
Yeah, because then that would eliminate the possibility that that person would be stuck on a first one again.
So it's really not necessarily this side of it, it's this side of it, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It should say first year counselor,
But what if she has someone who isn't any good at the job and she wants to?
but they keep coming back.
And don't
because-
Well,
hire
she wouldn't hire them again.
Right.
Right, she wouldn't hire.
I would
So in
recommend.
essence, they are stuck at minimum wage. 'cause
So,
they have-
so that's really what the issue is that it's
Okay.
first year counselor. I don't think that warrants us to add another position, change anything. I just think that
It makes sense.
the way I look at it, I tend to agree with Tina, is first year counselor instructor should be minimum wage.
Explanation, excellent.
Okay.
Because that person or that individual, it's 1 year,
First
it's,
year.
and they're not gonna be confined to that same spot.
Correct.
Because it's
Same money,
not
right,
nice.
right.
It's not, well, it's not fair.
It's not nice.
It's nice and it's not fair. But,
So
so.
I guess
what we
my
got,
question
first
is-
year? Put first year next to it, or?
I would
would,
keep it as it is because.
I would keep it as it is.
Things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, but I'm just explaining it the way I understand it is first year. Okay, and truth be told, I wouldn't do anything with this. I would leave it the way it is.
All right, so we're gonna we're gonna eliminate 1609. It's gonna go back to 1553, which is the current minimum wage plus COLA.
Where are you getting 1669?
No, 1609, because I did the numbers for the 3.5.
Oh, gotcha.
Mhm.
Yep, nope, it's staying at.
Yeah.
53.
So we're gonna be staying at 1553. The remainder of the schedule increased by 3.5% if we approve it.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Next.
So I'm gonna keep this note for my own personal self.
Okay, so number 2 is no action.
No, yep,
Okay.
excellent. Thank you very much. I appreciate the explanation.
Everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
All right, moving on to number 3. Okay, email dated December 20th from Tina regarding stipends for professional licenses for position of wastewater superintendent and water superintendent for FY 25. If I remember correctly on this discussion, there was a recommendation by Pete and Tina that we should turn around and put the practice in, that the wastewater manager, superintendent and the water superintendent should get stipends for
Professional licenses, yep.
professional licenses.
Yeah.
And that if I remember correctly, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember putting a star or
Yeah, so
something.
it's gonna
Yes.
be an asterisk to the section, not section.
This is
Stipend
item
schedule?
Yeah.
Schedule A.
Schedule, I'm like,
Okay.
section, that's not
Schedule
right.
A.
Yeah.
Schedule A against
I
those two
think we'll have to put
positions.
3 asterisks. There's our.
Okay, so yeah, so whatever notation, and basically it just says it follows the KTU stipend schedule. So if KTU goes up, this will go up as well without having to put a certain number in.
Okay, so, and you're okay with what has to be done in terms of the bylaw?
Yes, now should state be capitalized?
What?
In the.
What?
In the footnote that goes along.
Oh.
For each professional license required for the position or by the state. I think
If
you
you
need a
said,
comma.
The state would be the yes. It was the uppercase because you're referring
Right.
to the
Well,
state.
of
Exact-
Massachusetts,
yeah.
though, so you would say Massachusetts.
Well, if
Right.
you're in,
You know something?
if you're talking in here and and it's a Massachusetts license, he's not going to get a license from New Hampshire.
You know something, I'll look through the bylaw and
Yeah.
see if state
See.
is capitalized in other
Throughout,
places.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
when you're generally, when you're identifying something specific, that's a capital.
that's what I was
It's
thinking.
like D, small D democracy, large D Democracy. Crazy. All
All right,
right,
well, I'll check the bylaw to see whether.
So that
Okay.
500, that was
But I'm-
good.
So that'll be in the bottom of Schedule A.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
So I can
And,
tell you, oh, I'm sorry, are you ready to move on?
yeah, no, I'll just check what the other footnotes are, but I think I'll just put it at the end.
okay,
Okay,
So I
Alright.
can tell you for number 4 and number 5, I didn't review what I needed to review.
Okay, that was my
Action on
question.
it, Yep,
All right, so-
next meeting.
nope, the grievance
The-
procedure.
No, next meeting for the two you didn't do.
Gotcha.
right, so the office administrator
Mhm.
for the water department.
Yeah.
Um,
But we do know at a minimum that's gonna go to exempt. We just
okay,
don't
but
know
you
for
are,
every-
you are also in the minutes waiting for something from
Yes,
WHR.
yeah, and I have
Yeah.
received it, I just haven't reviewed it yet.
Okay,
No,
so,
that's okay.
okay, so we got a step, we just gotta get it final. So that'll be on the next agenda?
Yeah. Can we
Okay.
just,
Office Administrator Water.
can we just, I don't know if you vote on it now or do whatever you need to do, but can we just make sure that the exempt part of that position change happens at a minimum?
We've notated that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Well, if I do a draft of Schedule A to get in the licenses, the stipend for the licenses, I could do that as well.
yeah,
If
because
you
it's
want-
just a thing.
Do you want me to do a draft of Schedule A?
You want to, do you want to vote and approve the change to exempt and we'll,
Well,
Take
you
care of
didn't-
that.
You want to just approve it all at the end, because you didn't approve the
Okay.
other one either.
all right,
Yeah.
no, just checking.
Yep.
All right,
But we'll get a red line copy of it,
okay.
showing the changes.
Yeah, I'd rather not do it
Peacemaker.
because I'd rather just make the change.
Yeah, that's fine.
and not do it in track changes.
No problem. I understand what you want to do.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
All right,
Yeah, it's not. gonna
So-
work.
This,
so 4 will be coming back onto the agenda.
Yep.
5 back onto the agenda,
correct.
okay? 6, the grievance procedure.
Mhm.
Are we ready to talk about that, or is that?
I thought you guys made changes.
I'm
for
ready.
that,
Yeah,
so-
yep, no,
Yeah,
I,
ready.
okay, so 4 and 5 are going back onto the next agenda.
What we don't have is a clean copy of a draft for the grievance procedure, because I had recommended some changes.
Right,
Minor
and I
changes.
saw that and
And I
I
haven't
made some
seen that.
notes.
See that?
Wording changes or just font changes?
It was kind of, like little teeny tiny things like,
You go to his board.
wage and personnel bylaws. That's what it is.
I have two copies of it if you want.
No, I have one.
Oh,
And
I just didn't know if there was anything that really needed to be, like, there's no word, there's no meaning change is my question.
Not really.
Yeah.
It's more grammatical
Yeah.
and then,
The only one that I saw was in section 1. Okay,
in writing, I added.
well, it's just that where it ends in writing to the employee or the representative within 7 days of receiving the, in other words, it says within 7 days, 7 days of what?
Oh, all right.
That's what I'm trying to
The
figure out.
representative shall take up the grievance or dispute. All right, so within 30 days of the date of the grievance or acknowledged. So they have 30 days from the grievance. So then where is that 7 days?
The
I mean,
department head and the superintendent shall attempt to adjust the matter and respond in writing to the employee or the representative within 7 days. 7 days of receiving
Yeah.
the grievance?
Yeah, that's how the.
No,
does
it
it.
can't be between the grievance because they have 30 days to look at it.
No. This is saying something happens on December 1st. You have until that employee has until December 30th to read it.
Right,
And so on December 30th, they hand a piece of paper to their boss has 7 days to respond.
so by
Then,
January
okay,
7th,
So January, yeah.
right, so leave it the way it is, or am I adding,
All
I'm
right,
trying to
within 7
figure
days.
out what to do here.
The only other thing I would say, and not only other thing, I'm sure I'll say more, but one of the things that I know is confusing when I deal with it on the union side is, can we just change whenever it refers to days, can we say calendar days? Because there's always,
Oh,
calendar is a
yeah.
business, is a calendar is a business, and
Yeah.
so in the union contract, some things are business, some things are calendar, so we can just specify that going forward, that'd be great. All right, so what we are saying
So
here
it'd be
is, let's look at the
7 calendar
grievance or
days.
dispute in writing with the employee's department or within 30 days of the date of the grievance or knowledge of its occurrence.
Correct, so on
Department.
December 1st,
Mhm.
something happens,
Yeah.
they've got till December 30th to put it in writing and give
Yeah.
it to their supervisor.
Yeah.
The supervisor then has to read it that day and has 7 days to
Yep.
respond to it.
Yep.
Okay,
I mean, that is what happens with all the unions.
yeah, okay, so do I need to add anything?
Other than the
Um,
calendar days that.
Other than
Yeah.
Or
calendar,
is it business days?
Or
no, it's calendar days.
7 calendar days. So wherever it mentions days, we insert the word calendar.
Calendar.
To adjust the matter and shall respond.
So you're gonna do that,
Within 7 calendar days. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think
Okay,
that's fun.
all right,
I mean, you could say within 7 days of receipt or something, receipt of the grievance.
Oh,
Yes? I thought I heard.
yeah.
no, it's the other meeting.
Oh.
It's the other meeting. They're talking about their tractors and they're talking about something else too, so yeah,
Oh, okay,
no.
all right.
Adjust the matter and shall respond in writing to the
30 days
or
of
there
the,
be the
so
representative. within
7 days of
calendar
receipt of the
days.
response.
Yeah, that's what that's.
Within
yeah.
7 calendar days.
Of
Of the
receipt of the
grievance.
superintendent's, a supervisor's response, or the department head or superintendent, there you go.
No. What this is saying is that they have 30 days for the person to write up the occurrence within 30 days of it happening.
The employee.
To the
Right,
employee or the
Yep.
representative.
Yeah.
It goes to the department head.
All right,
Department head has to give them an answer within 7 days. So it's 7 days of receipt of the grievance.
Yeah.
receipt of the grievance, there we go.
Okay,
Because the other alternative is something happens December 1st. And
Right.
on December 2nd, that department head's getting a piece of paper saying you did this wrong.
Yeah, because I
And
can
so,
imagine hearing somebody say, but 7 days of what? Because you can almost hear it.
Yeah.
mhm. So that's why that was the thing I flagged. That was
So
my
7 days of
only,
receipt.
that was the only thing that I saw in here that I had an issue with, and I saw your corrections that I was fine with.
Yeah, because the
Okay,
changes.
Where
they
is
would-
section C through K? I didn't understand.
Yeah.
I see C.
What did I send you?
What?
Where's the one that I sent you?
It didn't have C through K on that one either.
Oh, is that's because that we already have something in the bylaw. That's our section C through K.
Right, but what you sent doesn't have C through K. There's no K, there's only a C. There goes. I couldn't tell how.
See what we got here.
We have A and B. And then here's C. And is all this part of C?
Section 14. No.
A, B, C. And 1, 2, 3.
So A and B is section 14. So this is C. So,
Right.
yeah, so where's D, E, F, G, H, I, K?
Yeah, so there's a C, then there's 1,
Right.
2, 3, and then there's 3A.
Yeah, I didn't know if those are
BCD.
really subsections or the lettering just got messed up. I didn't,
Then I would,
because I was thinking about how I would do it and then I was.
yeah, there's 2 paragraphs into section 14.
Yeah, I bet, so A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. H, I, J. Doesn't even get to that.
That's in that. Section 14 hasn't got like an FGHI.
No.
Right, that's what this adding would be.
Right,
So section 14 would be A, B, C,
Right.
1, 2, 3, 3A, and
Yeah.
3B, 3C, 3D. All right, so the CK is not gonna put it in, it's gonna be C through C. I'm gonna,
3, D.
3D, 3D.
But is A, B, C, D really a subsection of 3?
Yeah.
We have an ABC,
Right, is it
A, B,
really,
C.
is this really a subsection of this?
Yeah, that's what I didn't.
Right.
So it looks like 1, 2, and 3 is a subsection of C,
Mhm.
Right. And
It
A
is
is
A.
really D, and B is E,
Yeah, I
and
wasn't, I was.
C is
Oh,
E,
Yeah.
and, right, F. Mhm.
so you want to go D, E, F, G?
That's what I'm thinking, but maybe Tina can help us.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'll have to ask, because again, this was just provided by, the attorney, so.
Yeah, I'll just do questions. And then we still did not really do anything final on the Board of Selectmen versus the Board of the Wage Board. We did not resolve that issue.
Help me on that.
Okay. Let's see, and further that the Board of Selectmen shall be authorized to make corrections and adjustments to the foregoing language in the context of approval of this amendment. In other words, it's giving the Board of Selectmen control over the grievance procedure within the bylaw. I'm not sure I'm entitled to, I'm not entitled, but I'm not sure if that's, I'm comfortable. I don't think it was, I wasn't comfortable then, even though I know at that point, Keith did not have a position on either one, whether it was wage of personnel or the town administrator.
Okay, I tell you what I'd like to do,
Yeah.
all right, is I'd like to move 6 to the next meeting,
Mhm.
because I'd like to see the real full language in the correct
No problem.
salutations.
Yeah, we have
because-
plenty of time.
Yeah, but it's just that we got this C through K, and I can't figure out how you get K in here.
I think it was just an error.
I'm sure, but if they just renumber it properly and
And
then,
then we'll be better.
and
I
then
don't know what's the subsection of
Right.
what.
I'd also like some further feedback on the Board of Selectmen issue.
I'd like something in writing.
I'm trying to understand why they're even involved
Yes.
in the grievance procedure for wage and personnel.
It might have just been, that was the model used.
Okay.
So I guess the question is,
Is
was
it
this
really,
just the model
or
or?
is this really involved?
Yeah.
So,
And if there is, why?
yeah, what's the reasoning?
What's
That's
the
all.
reason?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no yes or no about it.
I wonder, again, I'm just thinking of the other ones, the union ones, and ultimately they're the appointing authority, so maybe
Mhm.
that's why. I know when it comes to a department head, most of them, like even, yeah, Keith doesn't have the authority to do discipline, so that goes to the board, you know, and maybe it's along those lines.
And it could very well be. I have no skin in the game. I just want an explanation, a
Should we
rational.
Laura?
I think she's already in.
Who is she?
I don't know.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
There we go. I have low bandwidth, whatever. Go figure.
So basically, could we ask Keith to come up with a reason why it says that?
Yep.
And we have no, I
One
have
way or the other, yep.
no one way or another, but I just want clarity as to why did this thing pop up all of a sudden when we
Well,
read it?
that's true. Yeah, that's a
So-
good point. I was wondering the same thing. Yep, so I'm popping in. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Yeah. I was just wondering the same as well. You know, I didn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
So it came from, when there is a situation, the employees have no way to
Right.
read it. You know, they have the appeal process, but there was nothing that went
Right.
beyond that.
Because we
Yeah.
were also talking about the fact that they also have, as municipal employees, have some civil service cover,
Well,
but it's kind of, you know,
not really, right?
not
'cause-
civil service in the sense that
Right.
we understand civil service. But I think it's more of a general employee kind of thing. But if they want to explain, you know, if they want to let us what their preference is and why, not a problem.
But was it looking for something in specific? Oops, am I cutting out again?
Oh, you're
No, I hear
fine.
you.
So was there something in particular that was needed to be looked at versus just look at the whole thing?
That there was nothing in place at all.
Yeah.
And so it's newly created.
I was just wondering, like,
It's kind of like we created a disciplinary policy
Yeah.
about a year
Yeah.
or two ago.
Yeah.
Now they're recommending, and we agree, that a grievance procedure should be protection for an employee and for the manager.
Mm-hmm.
But we just don't know why that thing about the board
Okay.
popped up because.
Yeah, and the problem that I see with the Board of Selectmen statement is that it circumvents the entire town meeting.
right,
Because bylaw that we create has to be voted on at town meeting and accepted at town meeting. If the Board of Selectmen can go and authorize any corrections or changes in the statements,
Mhm.
they bypass town meeting.
I'm not gonna approve them to make changes to the bylaw.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And
So-
I agree that they should not be having authority over the text of the bylaw for the wage of personnel.
At least because all the bylaw changes and all the bylaw creation is done through town meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised to see that statement in there.
That's why I'm not sure if it's even supposed to be there. I think.
Maybe not, I don't know.
Because I've
Right.
seen stuff come through
Mhm.
with boilerplate and the
And that could be
boilerplate
what this
doesn't.
is, yeah.
Well, look, C through K, we don't have.
C through K,
sections.
yeah.
That's a perfect
So it
example.
could be, you know, we could be worrying about something that doesn't even worry about anything.
Mhm.
But it's something that jumped on all of us when all of a sudden the board is approving, you know, and that's our job.
Yeah, plus
Our,
it has to go to town meeting.
yes, yes.
Well, so. I think,
Uh-oh.
no, I mean, I think so basically a grievance in the union world is something in the contract wasn't followed.
Right.
So if we took that same approach and they said, I think of anything though, that's the issue. I don't know, something in the bylaw that may be, you know, like, isn't obvious that would have to be followed. I don't know, maybe the disciplinary piece, right?
Yeah, there's,
So
yes.
let's say, and I don't know what the disciplinary is, but
Yeah,
if the
this
first one is, let's say the first level is verbal, the second level is a written, and the supervisor went right to a written, okay? Then the employee has the right to grieve that, to say, you were supposed to give me a verbal first. And that manager, that department head would say, I don't agree, and then it goes to TA. And then they say, no, yeah, that's what you should have done, and it ends there. If the TA says, they
No.
can say it because it's in the, that's the way it's written out. You know, if the TA says,
The grievances, the act was so egregious.
yeah, we
that
had to go right to that
we
other
had
one,
to, we had to go right to a written.
right? So then the next would
They,
be, according to this, would be the board.
a town highway person deliberately took the truck and drove it into a tree.
If anything like that was in the bylaw to begin.
No, took town property and destroyed it maliciously,
Yes.
Right.
okay?
Yes.
The supervisor puts them immediately into a written.
Yeah.
Problem that goes to the TA and the TA goes, well, I hate to tell you, but I agree with them.
Yeah.
You should have been written up for it.
Yep.
So
Okay,
then they would
doesn't,
have
it says I should give you a verbal,
Right,
but it doesn't say I have to.
right, right.
So therefore, we wrote you up.
Right, and so they still don't agree with that,
Right.
that it's following the process. That's
Right.
really, that's all they
Yeah,
can say.
okay.
And then, so according to how it's written now anyway, it would then go to the board. So I don't think it's a matter of the bylaw would be changing. It was, did it get followed?
Right, but here it's authorizing to make corrections and
Yeah,
adjustments.
oh, yeah.
To
That's
the language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that I
That's
don't
what I
agree with.
Right,
was talking
no,
to
that,
him
that's
about.
a little different.
Yeah.
We're not saying that
Yeah.
they're not the adjudicating
Yeah,
body.
yeah, yeah,
We,
yeah.
we agree they should be, because they'll follow the bylaw, but the fact that they can change the bylaw without it going
No,
to town
yeah,
meeting,
no, agreed. Yeah,
We're going through us either.
us first and then town meeting,
Yeah.
but I think they're gonna hit a wall at town meeting.
yeah, no, that makes a good point. All right,
So-
so I'll circle back to Keith.
Okay. All right, so,
And the other thing, I just wanted to point this out, wage
Go
and
ahead.
personnel board was created in 1966. So if you're looking at the purpose of the board shall draw up and recommend to the town a proposal for clarification and compensation plans for consideration as a town bylaw, and shall from time to time recommend to the town any action deemed necessary to maintain a fair and equitable pay level. So here's the argument. It talks about pay and compensation, but these are benefits that could kind of look and say, well, that's not part of our
charge,
charge. But it is,
because compensation is.
because
all
compensation is in a sense. So yeah, in other words, if you look at the black letter law, they can't touch the bylaw. The Board of Selectmen they don't have authority under the charge.
Mhm.
So that makes sense to me. So just take the sentence out. But if you want, and I think we agree, it may be a little rationale. If it was an error, great.
Yep.
And we know the answer.
Or if
just
it's
get
a
it off.
misstatement, meaning that they're the adjudicating board, that's a different issue.
Yeah.
Right, I agree.
Super duper.
All right.
There you go, you back.
Finished one meeting.
All right, so last item is the procurement officer.
How did you leave that? Because.
No JAQ.
No JAQ. Look at email.
Sorry.
Yep.
So, there's an email from December the 23rd.
Yep.
And you said a JAQ is coming. It was just a job description.
Yeah, all we have is. a
I
job
resent
description.
something and it said it was just the job description.
Right, and
Yeah.
you said you were gonna send the JAQ, but I never got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the email of December the 23rd. Attached a newly recreated JD for procurement officer. I'm not at my desk. I'll also send you the completed
Okay,
JAQ.
so I
Please
have the
allow.
email.
Oh,
Like, what am I
okay.
doing here?
All
All
right,
right,
so that's,
sorry. Sorry.
So this
so
goes.
are we waiting for that?
Yeah.
All right, so that'll be on the next agenda item.
About that.
So on the next thing will be number 4, number 5, and number 7.
4.
Okay, and then we want some clarification on number 6.
Mhm, mhm.
All right, so that's where what I have written down. Do
Yeah.
you have that, Jen?
So shouldn't 6 be on the agenda then? for the
It will
next
have to be,
meeting?
yeah, because of the clarification
So we have 4, 5, 6, and 7.
on the
That's
next
what I have,
agenda.
yep.
Yep. Anybody have any questions on the action items?
No, everything was done. My
Okay.
bad.
Okay,
No.
so next is the meeting minutes. So you have the minutes of January the 14th, which I believe is your meeting with Darlene.
Oh, wait, for mail, I'm just going to put in the email from Elaine,
I knew there was something.
Okay.
just so that we have a document.
Yeah, I don't
Yep,
know why.
sorry about that.
Is that
Yeah.
all right?
Yep.
I know how to have that at home, but. for some
Yeah,
reason-
I asked, yeah, just to make sure you said it. Darlene, did you get the email from Elaine?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so we already took care of that at the last meeting when we voted for the grade. We
Right.
usually don't get involved in the step, so there's no action I'm taking. We're just acknowledging that we have the email.
Okay. Yep.
All right? Okay.
See, my knee, your elbow, we're all dying.
All right, so now,
Yep.
okay, so now
Yeah.
the minutes of January the 14th.
Correct.
These were the minutes, if I'm not mistaken, of the visit that you and Lorraine had to the wastewater treatment plant. I'm gonna recuse myself from it, but I'll take a motion on the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of January 14, 2024 at the wastewater treatment plant.
As written.
Attendant, as written, attending, as written.
As
Sorry.
written. Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay,
Okay, I'll call the roll. Darlene,
Yeah,
yep, Lorraine,
approved, yeah.
and Jim abstained.
Okay.
Okay, next.
And thank you to Lorraine for writing them. She
Oh,
did-
thank you, Lorraine, for writing those minutes. I appreciate that. Next.
Lorraine deserves some credit. She did a
Okay,
very nice
next
job.
is the minutes of January the 18th. Any discussion, any correction?
They were things.
Okay,
Okay, wait,
let's,
let me just get my.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's just-
approve the one,
All right, so this
Okay.
is
Four.
done.
it's on there.
All right.
we did a lot on January the 18th.
That was
so.
okay, yeah.
there's a lot on there.
Yep,
Yeah, the step was further discussed, motion by Darlene, okay. If the step was further discussed, yes, we are going to, we're recommending a grade 13 with the step to be determined by Elaine's email.
well, the step is being determined by administration,
Yeah,
so nothing to do with us. Yep,
Okay. So we're all set with that, and
Mhm.
that's an okay. I like it when I say okay.
Okay.
That's another one. We've resolved counselor and instructor. We resolved that. We took care of the wastewater and water dependent and
Mhm.
the stipends. There was no discussion regarding your request to change to special aid. We're all set with that now. We have to put to the side the office administrator and the social services coordinator. Procedure for the grievance, we're working on that.
Mhm.
The JAQ for the position of procurement
Procurement.
officer, we need that. And the
Yeah.
treasurer collector is on there. We needed a JAQ.
We do not have JAQ for
Right.
that, right? But that's,
No.
I don't think it's coming up.
Yeah,
We have
that's
time on
not
that,
coming up to
right?
what, 2026?
Right.
So that was it. So we resolved the
Only,
questions.
the only thing that I had on them was, on the second page,
Mhm.
bylaw 15H and other issues raised will be discussed again at a later date.
Right,
These were the, things that, uh, Mary Beth brought up
yes,
regarding the fairness of the,
Vacation time. and
va-
stuff.
the start time to be
Yeah.
credited to vacation time and so forth. I don't have an opinion. I'm just noting it that it will be on there as a later date, so at
Yeah.
some point we'll be bringing it back up.
yeah.
All right,
Because basically, I know in my head, it was like, you can't bridge to something you don't have.
understood.
And that's pretty much, that's the difficult, and it's not nice, but it's the way it is.
Mhm, mhm.
That's the text of the bylaw.
All right, well, I will take a motion then on these minutes.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes of January 18th, 2024 as written. Yes, as written.
Can I get a second?
I second.
I'll call the roll, Darlene.
I second.
Thank you. I'll call the roll,
Aye.
Darlene,
Yes, I.
Lorraine,
Aye.
Jim, I. Okay,
Excellent.
all right. Anything else for the good of the group? Nope. Jen, you're good in terms of the starting of the next agenda. When is gonna be our next meeting? Is it going to be February the 26th?
Yeah, that was tentatively
what?
what we talked about.
February 26th. We were talking about
26th.
adding a meeting because of the amount of work we had to do.
Yes, and I was able to get room 101. If
Okay.
we decide to meet.
Okay. I prefer, that we do meet on February the 26th. Anybody have an issue with that?
Nope.
No? Okay, Darlene, you're good?
Good.
Okay. All right, you're good too, Tina? Okay, and then this way we can wrap up those other things that are on the agenda and anything else that may come before us. It'd be good to, also, we talked about, the COLA.
Yeah.
I'd like that on the agenda too for the
Yeah.
26th. Okay,
Because that way I could start working on the schedules.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are they gonna want the red line stuff like they did this last time?
I can't do the whole bylaw
Yeah.
like that for
Yeah.
town meeting.
That would make my head crazy.
No, I cannot,
If you want to print it out for you, that's fine, but I don't want to work in red line either.
no,
It's very confusing and very
it's
difficult.
very difficult with the bylaw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're also merging all sorts of tables and changes.
Yeah.
Right, and remember for the special town meeting, we added another section in at the end.
Mhm.
I couldn't get it into, I would have had to create the entire document again. So I was able just to add that one section because it followed the rest of it.
Right.
So no, I think
Jennifer,
we should do it the way we've always. done.
okay, and I think you did a great job on this agenda, is noting the emails.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like
that
it.
was- That was really good, made my life so much easier,
It made it,
And,
so even though 90% of them were November 6th,
but it's okay,
but that's okay.
yeah.
And it was all for you.
But it's okay, but the fact that it just made going to the information and pulling it up much easier.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
now it's there for the minutes. I don't have to.
Exactly, and I used your minutes to put this meeting together in my pack, so.
And, and we do a lot of little things and sometimes the little things really make a big difference.
Mhm.
All right.
Nothing else for the good of the group?
No, so I'll do my drafts of the 4 sections from Tina's, and then I'll do Schedule A.
Mhm.
And
Grievance.
Now, do you want to send that to me, or we're gonna wait until we get clarification on?
The grievance procedure?
No, remember there was that one change in the grievance. Or are we waiting until you get clarification?
On the board of selectmen.
No,
No, you were gonna
On
add the
C
upon
through K.
receipt or whatever it was.
Yeah, upon
And then
receipt,
all the,
right. Yeah.
calendar
were you
and
going to
stuff.
do that, or were you going to send me the file?
I can,
Oh, you already sent it to me.
that's why I'm a little confused. I've
Oh,
already
okay.
seen it.
Yes.
All
So
right.
should I do that, or we're gonna wait until we know?
You were gonna do a draft of it.
Yes.
So that
Of the
we,
grievance?
yeah,
Yes, draft is the grievance as we discussed today, and then the only thing left is that sentence at the end. So you can leave the sentence there because we're not approving the grievance next week.
But,
meeting.
Right,
but
but
we,
we
but
don't-
we don't know what D, E, F, G, H,
Right,
I, J, K,
exactly.
elemental P is.
Exactly.
Oh, I see, I see.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
We're
okay.
waiting for that to come back, then before we go to draft.
Unless you want to draft, or I just changed number 1 and I put within 7 days of receipt of grievance. I guess
Calendar
that
days.
is those words.
So
No.
Calendar days.
she's adding calendar days
Oh,
to
it's
every
in my
time.
notes, it's not in-
Yeah,
But-
if
but-
days,
I don't think that's necessary for you to have to do
Okay.
that until we
Yeah.
get the other stuff
Um,
rectified.
Okay. that makes sense.
All right, so I'll take a motion to end the meeting.
I move to adjourn the meeting at 7:22 PM. All in favor?
Well, take a
Yep,
second.
second.
I'll take a second.
I take a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
I.
aye, and Jim, aye.
What
Okay?
does it mean with the second?